Well, good evening and welcome, parents and guardians of our class of 2024 to the Parent Informational Evening. We're very pleased that you've joined us tonight. Tonight's goal is to basically introduce you to all the items and what Lakewood High School has to offer your freshman students. If you have a freshman, this is your first high school student, this will all be new to you. And for many of you veterans who have had students come through here, there's some updated information that it's important that you hear. So with me tonight is Mr. Tony Sharavelli, who is our freshman principal, and then also Mr. Brian Siftar, who is our associate principal. In addition to these two administrators, we also have a House 2 principal, Mrs. Bridget Furstenberger, and House 3 principal, Mr. Yakub Badat. As your students move to 10th grade and then through their senior years, they'll be placed either in House 2 or House 3. But we do have a freshman-only house, so we can keep a better touch and support our freshman students as they navigate high school for the first time. In addition, we have Mr. Sean Jackson, who handles all of our athletic programs, and Mr. Bill Damaso, who is the director of West Shore Career Tech Program. So, what are parents most concerned about? I try to put myself in parents' footsteps or shoes, I should say. And what is the thing that I'm most concerned about when I send my kid to school? Will they be safe? Are they going to get a good education? Are they going to make good friends? Are there things for them to be involved in? And at Lakewood High School, one of the biggest questions we get is, my child going to get lost? And I'm going to answer the last question first. Yes, your child will get lost. This high school is huge, and they'll definitely get lost. I've been here 3 years. The high school that I graduated is no longer here except for this building that we're sitting in, the Civic Auditorium, and it was a maze. And the new one is very hard to find your way around the first couple of days. But I guarantee you, they will make it around. They will find their way, and it'll be a second nature, just it is for all our upperclassmen. So yeah, they'll get lost, but don't worry. People will be there to help. They'll figure it out pretty quickly. So let's talk about safety. If I can get my Mr. Siftar, oh, there it is. So will my child be safe? The answer is absolutely. One of the things that we spend the most time talking about is student safety, and staff and visitors. We want to make sure anybody that comes through here is going to be safe. And we have a lot of people that support that. We have Mr. John Crane, who's our director of security. He's housed here. We have Officer John Betts, who is our school resource officer, and he does a lot with education. He's in the classrooms teaching alongside some of our teachers. He's down in the elementary schools and the middle schools also, as well as Officer George Rash, who's he spends a lot of time at the middle schools, but he does come up here, and they're there just to protect our students and to educate them on safety items. We also have 5 security officers from Tenable Security. They're basically here to make sure that students are following the rules, that anybody that comes through the building should be here, has an ID, has been identified. If you're a visitor, you have to check in the office, show an ID, you'll get a pass. So people can't get into our building unless they belong here. And our security officers are there to support that. We have run the ALICE program, which I know all the middle school students have had, even elementary school students are getting it now. And the only difference that we have added at the high school is we talk to our kids about different scenarios. So when we do an ALICE training or a drill, we run through different scenarios, some from the worst case scenario down to minor situations where we might have to lock down the building. So we're trying to get the kids to think about what would happen if there is an emergency. We're certainly not trying to scare them. We just want them to be prepared if an actual emergency occurred. We have several ways to report, and these are very similar to the middle school. We have a hotline phone number that generally kids don't use, but parents sometimes do. We have the Stop It app, which students will use. They have that in the middle school. And the one thing that we ask is that you monitor social media. A lot of the terrible things that have happened, we were forewarned about it because it showed up in social media. So if you would happen to see something, or a student would show you something, please call us. If it's a false alarm, that's fine. We will investigate it. If it's a concern of yours, just let us know and we'll investigate it. Most of the items that are brought to our attention are false alarms, but we've had some situations where we've prevented some tragedies by becoming involved based on a social media post that someone brought to us. So it takes all of us to make sure that our students and all our community members here at Lakewood High School are safe. We have a unique position to take care of our students while they're here at school. We have a health center, which most schools have. We have a health aide who's here during during school hours, I should say. If kid's not feeling well, they can come down, they can get a pass, come down. We'll take their temperature, look at some symptoms, contact parents, and let you know. In this day and age with the COVID-19 pandemic, if a student is showing a fever or presenting with symptoms, we do have a quarantine room where we'll place them until a parent can pick them up. But we also have the Cleveland Clinic right here on campus, and it's open to all our students, and you do need an appointment, but they take care of anything from immunizations to students who are not feeling well, to sports physicals. So you can call and make an appointment and get set up with the Cleveland Clinic. And the great thing about that is the kid might need an immunization. They can come down, get it done on their lunch period, and be back in class within a few minutes. So it's a tremendous asset to our school. So I'm now going to turn the microphone over to Mr. Siftar to talk a little bit about our academic programming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walter. And thank you for joining us.
Your microphone.
From our set. Good evening. I'm going to start over from the beginning. Thank you very much, Mr. Walter. At this time, I'm going to review some of our academic programming that we're very proud of here at Lakewood High School in being a comprehensive high school. We can meet the needs of any student, no matter what their dreams and aspirations are or their affinity for learning. That being said, we have over 200 plus courses, advanced courses, 17 AP, and we offer CCP classes not only on site, but a lot of students leave our campus during the school day to go to CCP classes, which is College Credit Plus classes at other local universities. We also have the West Shore Career Technical District, and one thing that Mr. Walter is very proud of is the teaching and support staff that is second to none. Graduation requirements. They're ever changing at this point in time in regards to testing and what you need to earn or show competency. But one of the things that is approved by the Lakewood Board of Education is the need for every student to obtain a minimum of 21 credits in the areas that you show, that is seen on the screen there. The electives that we have everything from photography to ceramics to courses that are recently added that are very popular with students, such as street law. Any information in regards to that, please contact your counselor and there'll be more information shared with her contact information. Back to the competency. Currently, as it stands with the Ohio Department of Education, is showing competency in two areas. That is Algebra 1 and English 2. The scores are based upon a 5-point scale, and students must earn a 3, which is designated proficient in both of those areas to obtain a diploma. Another component of a high school diploma is showing readiness, and with that, each student receives 2 diploma seals, and they are also on your screen, as you can see there. More information about that as your student moves forward into their career and their academic prowess here at Lakewood High School will come from your guidance counselor and throughout the classes. One thing in particular, for those students and parents that are interested in learning more about the honors diploma, now's a good time to get started with what's required for that. That's not something that can be attained at the last second when a student enters their senior year. Preparing for the next step. Also run by our school counseling department. There you'll see a picture of all the school counseling department ladies, and they help out with several different things in regards to preparing for the next step. Whether that is college and career fairs, which normally are happening next month. However, we're working with our partnerships and our universities to see if that's going to be virtual. And at this time, we will let you know when those events will take place, given the circumstances. Other key aspects of coming up to the high school level that you'll hear much more about are our career exploration classes, Naviance, College Now app, and scholarships. And Miss DeChant is the 9th grade school counselor. She is the freshman counselor for all freshmen. On the screen, you'll see her contact information, which includes her email and her direct line to her phone on her desk. If you have any questions or your child has any questions or needs, whether that's academic or social emotional, please reach out to us so that we can help, and Miss DeChant would be one of your first points of contact. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Chiravelli, who is the freshman principal of House 1.
Thank you, Mr. Siftar. Good evening, parents, and thank you for joining us. So happy to have you. Couple questions that you might have as parents. Will my child make good friendships? And can my child be involved in school activities? And the answers are yes and yes. They can get involved in many activities that we have here at the high school for every interest that they have. If they're not interested in sports and athletics, we have clubs and activities such as Barnstormers, Gamers Club, Herpetology Club, which Mr. Walter loves so much because he has an interest in snakes. And you might have seen Mr. Streets' article in the paper. There's many things going on here with that. With a lot of sports that are non-cut sports that students can join and be part of, no matter what level they are athletically. So we have a lot of things here that students can get involved in, and it's very important for us, for students to get involved in something. And that is the biggest push that we make, is have a connection to your school in some way, shape, or form, other than just coming to school, doing your academics, and going home. It really builds a good work ethic, and it also gives you a bigger sense of pride, and it also helps you along the way when you're looking at your academics to make sure that that's all strong and a good connection. And in doing so, you might also think to yourself, as a parent, how can I be involved? And I'm going to send it over to Mr. Walter right now, because he's going to talk to you as a parent how you can be involved as well.
So each level, the parent involvement is different. It's different at the elementary school, it's different at the middle school, and it's certainly different at the high school. So we have three main organizations that support our students and our staff, and I can tell you their help is invaluable to the mission of Lakewood High School. The first is our music boosters, and if you've been involved in music, you've probably been involved with the music boosters. But Mrs. Wendy Hoppel is the president. Their website is listed there on your screen. You can see all the things that they're involved in and how they help kids. So if your child's a musician, or even if your child's not a musician and you want to be involved or support the music boosters, you have that opportunity. Our athletic boosters, our president is Mr. Vince Franz, and they are everywhere at every sporting event. In fact, I saw Vince at the golf outing fundraiser on Saturday, checking people in, and as always, collecting money for the events. But the boosters are always at our events, and there's a variety of ways that you can help them. So if that's your area that you'd like to contribute, please consider joining the athletic boosters. And then our PTA, Mrs. Regina Westlake is the president of the PTA this year. It's a great group of people. The high school's a little different. We only meet 4 times a year for official meetings. They're well attended. And if you're interested, the dates are on your screen. That tiny URL is the membership form. It's the electronic membership form, but you can also go to the website and see more about the PTA. But even though they meet infrequently, their support is ongoing. So I would highly encourage everybody to join the PTA. The other this area that you probably need to get familiar with is the book room. Mrs. Williams and Mrs. Stovering run our book room. Anything that you need to purchase or return or pick up generally comes from the book room. So from anywhere from parking passes to dance tickets to homecoming tickets, things like that. Football games you can get at the book room. So that's right off the cafeteria. And if you have questions, please give them a call. So there's a few nuts and bolts that we went over with our freshman students during Fresh Start that I'm going to have Mr. Chiravelli talk to you about today.
Thank you, Mr. Walter. Typically, we do our Fresh Start program in the beginning of the year, and we're outside with the band, kind of going crazy, high-fiving them as they come through the door. It's pretty nuts. This year, due to the circumstances, we were able to bring in safe groups, small safe groups, 232 in-person freshmen over 3 days who were able to come through the front doors of Lakewood High School and enjoy gaining some information, touring the building, having a little bit of fun along the way, learning the fight song. Mr. Walter's favorite, learning the fight song. He loves that. I think he remembers it from when he graduated from here many years ago. To the biggest thing is to reduce some anxiety as a freshman as you're coming through the door. You're making a big leap from middle school to high school. If you were unable to attend, we totally understand that. We are going to post the virtual Fresh Start tour for you online by this weekend, the 5th. You'll be able to go to the Lakewood High School homepage, and on the bottom right side is the Fresh Start link. You can click on that, and we will have our link to the actual virtual Fresh Start. The students who missed it will be able to see some of the information and take the virtual tour that we were able to offer. We did talk about Chromebooks a little bit, and just to give you an update on Chromebooks, hopefully they're going to be in time for us to give to your children through next week with the distribution on September the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Please make sure that you're looking at the alphabet and when your student comes to pick up their packets, and hopefully we can get those to you. If not, in the meantime, please, they can use the Chromebooks that they currently have. If there's a problem, reach out to me in House 1 and we'll get that fixed, or send an email to Mrs. Furstenberger. Her email is on this screen right here. She is our House 2 principal, but she oversees a lot of the Chromebook stuff for us. She does a great job, and she'll help you immediately to help with everything else. Authorized use policy, Mr. Walter sent an email with those out to you earlier, but it's also on our website, so make sure those are signed and updated electronically, and those will be good to go for your children to have everything they need Chromebook-wise. We also did talk about Zoom expectations, and we feel this is very important right now during our 9 weeks of remote and e-learning to make sure that your students are attending. Attendance is key. Make sure that they're logging in, getting in every morning at 8:45 for their initial homeroom, making sure that they're on time for all their classes and being prepared. Participation and working hard now will pay off. At some point, hopefully this too soon shall pass, and we're going to have our students coming back through the front doors of Lakewood High School. So what they're going to do now, we'll transfer them back in. We talked to them about that, working hard over these next 9 weeks and reaching out for help for that. And then courtesy and distraction free. I'm sure a lot of you have been on some of these things and something has gone by the background, distractions. The best that the students can, let everybody know their communications of when they're going to be on, so that they can create as much of a distraction-free learning environment as they can, and we appreciate that. Next, some important numbers here. The first one is Miss Maselli, Miss Annie Maselli. She is our House 1 secretary. She is there to help you. She is wonderful at getting back to you or getting some answers, so please reach out. Next, the number is for Miss DeChant. And then finally on there, not finally, but one of the other numbers on there is Mrs. Butterfield, and she is our attendance. Please make sure again that call your child off as normal. Like if they were in school, if they're sick, please, you got to call them off. Let us know so we can log that in for attendance and know where your child is, so we're not calling them and letting them know that they didn't attend, and then the health center numbers. The remote learning schedule is on here, but we are going to be giving every single student a nice color laminated schedule to take home with them when they do their car pickup lines. Put this on the fridge, keep it on their computers, wherever they need to keep it, but this is a great key for them to have visibly so that they can show everybody when they have their schedules and they're going to be on. Registration gateway, this is also very important, parents. It's crucial for you to get the information in a timely manner, to get the correct information that's coming out from the high school, for us to be able to call you if there's an emergency. Mr. Walter, safety is number one. Safety is huge. So in this world of ever-changing numbers, please make sure that if you do change your number, that you go online and you update that for us, please, and let us know. And if you have a hard time updating it, call House 1 and we will help you get that updated very fast so that we have everything correct. But please make sure you're updating your registration gateway with contacts and phone numbers for us. And at that, I want to say thank you for listening to us this evening and attending. And I know Mr. Walter's going to have a few more words, and I'd like to send it back over to Mr. Walter.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sharavelli. So we've just thrown a lot of information at you. Again, this video will be posted if you need to rewatch it, and also the general parent information night, which covered a lot of the remote learning questions that people had. But I sent out an email earlier today that had a link to a forum where you could ask questions, and we've already received a handful of questions that we're going to answer right now. If you have questions, now's the time to do it. Unfortunately, when I try to get a shortened URL for the form, that's what came up. So I'm going to leave that up so you can see it. So if you have to copy it down to find the form. Otherwise, it was in the email that I sent earlier today, and you can simply access it through that. So, Mr. Siftar, you've been monitoring some questions. Do we have some that we can help answer?
Yes. Good evening, and thank you very much for submitting questions. Like Mr. Walter said, type in that extremely long, which is supposed to be shortened, Google link. That being said, there are several questions in regards to when. Thank you very much, Mr. Walter, for tossing that over me. And like Mr. Walter said, please go to the email that was sent to all freshman parents in regards to a link. You can just click on that to submit additional questions, or utilize that extremely long / short link given to us by Google to submit questions. That being said, one of the questions that reappears a couple different times is, what will happen when we return to school? Will freshmen be afforded another opportunity to walk through the building and attend and see where their classes are? Yes, by all means. We have plans for when and if that happens to have another evening where freshmen can print off their schedules and walk through the building and find out where each one of their classes are. Another question that has come up in regards to, how does study hall work in your lunch period on the original schedule? Study hall, as you know now, in our remote learning, if you're a remote learner, you do not need to attend or check into your study hall. When we do return to school later on this school year, if we do return, at that point in time, a student will go to the study hall location that's denoted on their schedule. We have several locations for study hall, so it could be anywhere from one of our lecture halls to the cafeteria or even a classroom. So they would just go to their study hall and follow the schedule there. But once again, if your child has a study hall in their schedule during remote learning, they do not need to check into that study hall, and nor are they expected to have a Zoom link to participate.
Mr. Siftar, there's a couple of questions regarding COVID, which obviously is a big concern of everybody's. The one question is, do we have a COVID dashboard to keep parents updated about the change in numbers? Well, we don't, but we do have a district nurse, Nurse Katie Corrigan, who's responsible for all communication and updating about the COVID virus, how it's impacting our county, how it's impacting our state, and certainly how it's impacting our school. So Nurse Corrigan will be the contact person who will be communicating all those things. There's a question about, if students wearing masks. Mm-hmm. Yes, they will be held accountable for wearing masks. It's a safety issue. So we will mandate it as the state has, as the county has, and the school district. The Board of Education is supportive of mask wearing. So it will be a rule just like any other rule at Lakewood High School.
Students that are in e-learning / Apex, they're one and the same. There is a question in regards to, will there be a specific meeting for families using Apex or e-learning? I think that's a great idea. Right now, we're currently training staff and meeting with our partners with Apex Learning, and more information and direction will be coming very shortly, hopefully by the end of the week, in regards to Apex. So there will be a document sent out that answers a lot of questions we have received with Apex.
I saw a question on here that says, will you share this presentation in a slide so we don't have to watch the whole video? This presentation will be up on the Fresh Start website. You can click on it to see the slideshow presentation. Yes.
Another question is, if our student or child has an open period for a semester, are they allowed to add a class? When and if we return, that's a great discussion for to have with your school counselor, Mrs. DeChant. And I say that without giving a real quick answer, because several of the classes require a prerequisite and or may not have availability or seats left in the class. So that's a discussion that when and if we return, please have your child or yourself as their parent or guardian reach out to Mrs. DeChant to explore opportunities to fill holes in their schedule.
And I'm not sure if the person who was asking this was wanting to know, like right now, if they can add a class and if your child has spots. The answer is yes, we can still add them to classes. It's just, as Mr. Siftar said, based on availability and prerequisites and how it fits into their schedule.
Clubs and activities?
Yeah. There's a couple questions about extracurriculars. So as you know, that we were given the approval to start athletics just last week. That resolution by the board also included extracurriculars. So in fact, we're meeting with our teachers tomorrow morning, and that topic is on the agenda. We have started, some teachers have started extracurriculars. Some of them can be face-to-face following the county guidelines, and some of them may be held remotely. So because this is ever-changing and we just learned that we were able to do that, I can't give you a whole lot of details other than the plan is to continue our extracurriculars to the level that we can, given the remote learning and, quite frankly, the comfort level of participants and our teachers to hold them either in person or remotely. But it is something that we feel is very important that students get involved. So there'll be more information to come on that.
Another question that just came in regards to having a lunch 6th or 7th period, will they then have an extra free period or essentially 2 lunch periods? Yes and no. And I say yes because that is possible, but a lot of times when a student's lunch period changes, it's because it dovetails with a lab class. So that's a question that, depending on the way your child's schedule reads, I empower or encourage, if you will, for you to reach out to Mr. Chiravelli or Mrs. DeChant. That is a very individualized question that there isn't
Absolutely.
A blanket answer to it. Really, with lab classes only being every other day, that's a hard question to answer without seeing an individual schedule.
And I see there's a question about Apex e-learning. If a student is taking an Apex course and we switch to partial enrollment, they can certainly come back at that point. If they're taking an elective that's only offered here at Lakewood High School, because quite frankly, our electives are far greater than the Apex system can offer, they would have to come in live to participate in those electives. Same thing with the second semester's question about the second semester. Yes, they could come in person for the one elective and still remain on Apex if we are in that situation where we'll be offering the e-learning. I don't see any other questions.
No, I believe that answers it.
So, okay. Well, we appreciate you spending some time with us. We certainly wish it wasn't under these circumstances. It's one thing I've learned about school is it's way better when the kids are here, and our parent meetings are way better when the parents are here. So, I appreciate you checking in today and spending some time with us, and we look forward to the day that we all will have the students back in. We can see you, and things are back to normal. And in the meantime, please keep in communication with us if you have questions. I know the freshman year is challenging and a little scary, and there's a lot of unknowns, but I guarantee you we'll take care of your children. And so don't hesitate to reach out and see how we can help. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Mr. Sharavelli and Mr. Siftar, for supporting our parents tonight, and have a great evening.